Hello there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Daniel Rosal. I am the founder of DSR Ghostwriting, which is a writing business focused on working with technology companies, entrepreneurs, companies, and agencies to help create and execute on thought leadership campaigns. So something that I have come across is a common question. One of the top FAQs I front is, well, how do we hire a writer? How do we brief a writer? How does that work? So I have a separate video actually about how to brief writers. And if you really want a deep dive on, if you've never prepared a brief for a writer or a creative, then that video should give you pretty much everything I think you need to know, give or take, for how to do that well, almost really well. But what I want to talk about here is basically just how it works. So that's kind of a separate thing. So basically, if you're looking at hiring a writer, I'll tell you what my process looks like, and this can be for other people. So firstly, it all starts for me with a prospecting call. So it's a two-way interview. I talk to people on Zoom, and to tell you how it works from my perspective, I'm trying to actually understand. I'm doing my own little lead qualification stuff, but I'm just really trying to understand what you're about. And I find that when I work with a lot of technology companies, as I do, that's my thing. It's often actually not clear from the company's marketing collateral, from their marketing website, from their branding, exactly what they really do. And I firstly want to clarify that. What is it you're about? Who's your competition? What's unique about you? Those are things that you're not, it's uncommon for a business to list on their homepage their weaknesses and their competitors. So I try to get at that info. Once we've had the call, I listen to what you need in terms of your requirements for writing. And once I'm clear on your requirements, if it's something I can't do, I just tell people that I can't do them. If I have someone to refer out to, I will do that. And if it's something I can do, and let me just give myself a quick plug: articles, books, blogs, ebooks, white papers, speeches, something I can do, I'll tell them what the process is. So a common question would be lead time. So my lead times for articles and blogs, for instance, would be in the region of 4 to 5 business days. I tell them what my ballpark rates are. And by the way, my rates, I tell them what that includes. So my pricing includes one round of revisions for your articles or blog. Beyond that, I charge an hourly fee, and I also tell people what my hourly fee is. So I have this initial conversation. It's a discovery call. I'm trying to find out what it is that the prospective client needs. If it's a thought leadership call, I'm trying to find out, do they understand what's their conception of thought leadership? Do they really understand the difference between content marketing? Like, what are they trying to achieve? And are their expectations realistic in terms of where they might be published? Someone tells me they want to get published in TechCrunch right out of the bat. I might say that I'm not sure I'm the right person to help you do that, because thought leadership is actually a long game. So I'm assessing for fit and seeing if we're good at working together. That's what I do during these discovery calls. After that, if it's good, I'll send a quote typically after the call, and the quote will basically quote what we've talked about. The client sits on that, sometimes for a year, sometimes for a day, sometimes for an hour. And if they want to engage, the way to engage is to send a brief. A brief is basically a set of instructions for what you want written. I have a separate video. As I said, if you want to really, really deep dive on how to do a brief, send a brief, check out that vid. It will really set you in good stead. And once they send that, that's the instructions, and I do the project. I add them to an onboarding email in MailChimp. This is my process. That tells them everything they need to know: my bank details, my tax and compliance forms. And once they have that, they give that to their AP person. I do the project. I send it. If I send it via Google Drive, I have my own little workflow that I use. If I send it via email, there's not really a workflow to talk about. They get the work that they have paid for. Then you take ownership of the work. So I do typically either conclude a contract or send over standard terms and conditions. Standard terms and conditions say stuff like, basically, I won't send you plagiarized work. You will own the IP. You will pay me net 30. It's a pretty basic document, but it sets out the contractual framework for the relationship. So I'll send over the deliverables, and I bill once a month. On the 30th of the month, I bill net 30. And That's it. It's not a hugely involved process. For more complicated projects like white papers or case studies, for instance, I will often hold an SME interview. SME is subject matter expert. So if you have some crazy data geek in your organization who just has so much info wrapped up in his brain, and that could be really useful for this piece, so I will speak to them. I include a basic 30 minutes meetings in each project I quote. And I know this might sound really pedantic. From my perspective, it's so that there are limits, because I've had clients that have asked for hours and hours of unpaid meetings and endless unpaid revisions. So I've had to implement T&C. So I've one revision, one meeting. But I can do more hourly. So if you need me to talk with your subject matter expert, I'll do a chat with them. I can run the transcript through Rev, give you the transcript. I can handle all this myself, send you on billables, additional expenses. And that's basically, that's how a writing process works. It's a relationship, and like any relationship, I find it tends to get better with time. So the first couple of projects can be slower in terms of the revision process, sending back revisions and learning the client voice, the brand voice. That process doesn't happen overnight. So that's really all there is to be said about it. If you are interested in learning about what I offer, it's thought leadership for technology clients, agencies, and individuals, spanning both strategy consulting and actually writing. Then check out my website at dsrghostwriting.com. Thanks for watching. Until the next video.